Well, I would tell him, Edward, relax. Everything is going to work out. Stop comparing your beginning with someone else's middle.
Welcome back to African Voices Building in the Diaspora. I have with me here today a friend of mine, a former colleague. He used to work with a multinational MTN with us. However, he's right now working as a VP in JP Morgan's, and he's going to share his perspective in coming to all the way to America and be sharing his journey and challenges as well. Thank you so much for coming to the show, Edward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uzo, and thanks for having me.
All right. So, my first question, I have a couple of questions for you, like 5 questions. And one
Okay.
of them being, you left 10 years ago. I think, was it 10 years?
I left in 2017. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Roughly 9 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Almost
you
10.
left
Yeah.
9 years ago, like when we were still in MTN Nigeria, still like doing what we have to do, feeling very comfortable there. What made you leave at that time? What did you see that we didn't see? And just let us know why did you leave at that time? What made you leave?
Well, looking back, I don't think I saw anything you guys didn't see. My decision to leave was mainly because my mother-in-law filed for my wife, who now got the immigrant visa in 2016, sorry, I beg your pardon. She got the immigrant visa in 2016, but then I wasn't sure if I was willing to make that move. Like you said, we are all comfortable in MTN and we're living a life, MTN multinational and everything. So I wasn't sure if I was willing to leave and make that big leap. It's more like moving from certainty to uncertainty. So I wasn't sure what American held for me and everything. So my family eventually left in December 31st of 2016. We all left together. We made that initial trip together. I came back about 3 weeks after, continued working at MTN. Along that line, we were still deciding how often will I need to visit to keep my green card active. So the decision was I should be able to make a trip at least once in 6 months. So that we agreed on. So I came back in January 2017 and decided to okay, I'll make my next trip in June, which is about 6 months in between, so that I don't have to violate the rules of having a green card and everything. So, but as God will have it, and forgive me, I'll mention God a lot on this conversation because I know we're all sinners, but I'm a person of faith. I just believe that nothing happens to me without the mark of God. So, but as God will have it, around April, you remember we had the first VSS. So I was called that, oh, there's something that HR is putting together. If you want to leave, you will pay the certain amount of money and you can go. So I thought to myself, is this not God working or something? So I took it and decided to live, join my family in the US. So it wasn't as if I planned to Japa for 1 year, but it just happened along that way. So I decided, okay, since I have this opportunity, it might just be God talking to me. So I took it up and left. So
Okay.
it wasn't an elaborate plan or moving because I needed a better job or something, but it was just okay. The opportunity is here, and I have this chance to make this move. So why not just take it and go?
Okay. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, you don't see green card all the time. So yeah, I completely agree. You are now the VP of JP Morgan Chase. That's a huge one. And looking from outside, somebody will say, Edward has made it in the US. So, but take me back. What in the early days, what was it like, for you? What were the challenges you faced coming to America and from Nigeria and your experience and every single thing?
Okay, I'll start with this. So even before I made that trip, before I decided to move over to the US. So between when the VSS offer was made, that was around April, and when I eventually left in June, I had to speak to a lot of people.
Okay.
One of those people I spoke with was Andre Zemeze, then my general manager.
Okay.
And he told me something. He said, Edward, if you have this chance, make the move.
Wow.
Go. So he was like, you have to go. So I asked him, So how do I manage? How do I have that transition into the US and the labor market and everything? So then he connected me to a lady in Lekki Phase 1. He was gracious enough. He called up the lady,
Oh,
gave me
mm,
the contact. I called her. So we connected. She took me on some classes, business analysis classes. So she really prepared me for the journey ahead. She
wow.
taught me a lot of stuff. She told me when you get to the US, the first job you do might just be what you'll be stuck with. So don't just do any job.
Oh my goodness.
Know your worth, know your value. So I asked her, how can I do all these things? So I did some courses with her, trying to understand how the US labor market works, what the expectations were, and everything. Then I started looking through LinkedIn and other job boards to see the kind of jobs that fit my profile and how do I start preparing for them? What do I need to put in place? What extra skills do I need to learn and everything? And learning has been part of my success factors. I'm not scared of learning. So started putting all this together. Then I looked and when you reach out to people, people say a lot to you, even people that have stuff to tell you in the past, I couldn't tell you, that would be an opportunity. Like I remember I was telling a lady that, oh, see, this is my plan. I'm trying to like move over to the US to settle in there. She said, Edward, just let me try to catch her language. Edward, and that's a very, very, very risky move. You say, Edward, you have this speech impediment. I don't speak well. There are a million words I can't pronounce.
Oh my
And even when I
goodness.
pronounce some, I don't pronounce them correctly. So she brought them all to the fore to
Oh
say,
my
Edward,
goodness.
this is your disadvantage. One, your skin color will work against you. Two, you don't talk like that. Even if you want to talk to them like that, you have this speech issue that you might not be able to fit in. So
Wow.
all those came in. I had some people encouraging me on the other hand, and some people were like, oh, no need, you have a good job in MTN. Even some people within MTN, so if in the next 3-4 years, you might become a senior manager. So a lot of those issues came up. So I think often people see title, but not the journey behind it. Your VP today, they don't know what went through it. Um, and when I arrived in the US, that was in early June, late May, early June, or 2017, 2017. I didn't get a job immediately. My first job didn't come until November of that year. So for about 6 months, I was home. Not because I wasn't getting offers, but because all the learnings I've gotten before I left prepared me for this. So I wasn't going to start a job at McDonald's or something. I was going to start a job I was passionate in doing.
Hmm.
I was going to do something just because I needed to jump into a job. So I needed to wait for the right opportunity and do something I was passionate about. I don't want to be frustrated doing something I don't like doing or something I just doing just because circumstances push me into doing it. So what I did was during that waiting time, I didn't just sit at home. I started learning new stuff too. I started watching YouTube, learning how to work with Tableau, learning some new SQLs and SAS. I was just trying to like empower myself as much as I could. But I made a deliberate decision not to jump at any opportunity. I wanted the right role where my experience could be valuable. So eventually, I joined USAA as a senior business analyst. Then I was living in Florida, USAA based in Texas. USAA happens to be one of the biggest banks in the US. So it's a Fortune 500. Yeah. So I got a job with them. So looking back, I'm glad I waited because it positioned me for the long-term growth.
Hmm.
Yeah, and 6 years later, another opportunity came in. That was how I joined JP Morgan Chase as a vice president. So yes, people see the VP title today, but they don't always see the sacrifices, the uncertainty, the patience, and the discipline that comes before it. So a lot of this comes into play. So we just need to be persistent. We shouldn't just jump people might see this and say, "Oh, you're saying this probably because it was easy for you to wait 6 months without working and everything." It wasn't easy for God's sake, but it was a sacrifice I was willing to make just to be where I thought I should be. And this was because I spoke to people a lot and they told me a lot of stuff. Edward, if you can make the sacrifices now, make it now, and then the right job you want. So that was all how that found out.
Wow, this is profound. This is the whole essence of this channel. Even as I'm listening to you, I'm gaining so much because, there are a lot of things that you said here. You talked about, waiting patiently for 6 months and not like you weren't getting a job, but you needed the right kind of job. And you waited patiently, and it's not like you sat down and you were waiting, you were learning on the go. You went to YouTube free channel and you were doing it. It's so profound for me, even me as a person, because sometimes I'm really quite impatient. I'm like, okay, let me just the next bill is coming. I need to get into this job and all that. And this is profound. And I've learned, even as I'm talking to you, it's ministering to me, to be honest. And I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I tell people at times, my move where I am today, is like a testimony. I enjoy sharing it because I'm not really sure who this might help or who needs to hear this. So
Yeah.
it's a testimony. People need to hear it. People need to be encouraged by it and everything. So that's why I'm always happy and willing to share my experiences, my transition and everything.
I hear you. I hear you. And another thing that was profound for me, I mean, you went talking to people. Some people encouraged you. You mentioned some names. The people that encouraged you, they also got somebody that you spoke with and all. And then some other people who said, oh, your speech impediment might be a factor and all that. So sometimes you take in a lot, but then you filter the ones that are helpful,
Yeah,
and leave the rest.
definitely.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really awesome. So you work in data visualization. You literally make complex things make sense to people. So when you look at your own journey with the same clarity, what's the pattern you see that others miss?
That's actually a very interesting question because data is all about finding patterns. And when I look at my own life, the biggest pattern I see is continuous learning. I'll take you back to while I was at MTN. That was far back 2016, 2017. There were tools, applications I didn't need to use at that time. We had Oracle Toad for mining data. We had SAS for data analytics. I didn't really need to use them on my role, but I learned how to use those tools. Even when they weren't necessary to use, when I could use an Excel to do an easy task, I wanted to use it, have a hands-on experience and everything on those tools. So those were part of the patterns in my journey. 6 years at USAA, I was using SAS heavily. This was part of what I learned from MTN. That's what a tool I learned from MTN. So I was using SAS heavily, making PowerPoint presentations. But at USAA, I didn't have to work with Tableau. Tableau is for data visualization. I didn't have to do anything on Python. Python is a coding language. But I started learning those two stuffs, those applications. Tableau, I was just doing it for fun. So when I make presentations at times, I have to even like ask my manager back at USA, oh, please, can you approve me to have a license, Tableau license, because it costs money.
Yeah.
She wanted me to justify why I needed it. But in actual fact, I didn't need it to do what I was doing. But I had to make some justifications to say I need this for this. But in actual fact, I just wanted the hands-on experience on it. Because since I started, when I started working at USA, I noticed that something was missing from my skill sets. So I had this toolbox of my skills. So I could mine data, I could transform data, I could extract, do whatever data, but I didn't have that visualization part. How do I show it to my audience? Not everybody understands coding languages. So you need to put it in a very simple form that it is interactive. People can go in there, slice and dice and see some stuff. So I thought I needed that part of it in my toolbox. So Eventually, I was able to get that license. So I started working on it with it and everything, even when I didn't need it. So still talking about patterns. So Tableau was very, 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 it came in very, very handy for my getting my current job because they needed someone that could show what. So if I need to make data available, it should be visible to my bosses above.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be jargons or whatever. They need to see charts. They need to see something very fancy, something that will attract them to see it and can give them insights, valuable insights they need and everything. And it should be timely as well. So that was why I added that. So those were the pattern in my life, my transition. That's why I said my life itself is a pattern of continuous learning. Even today, as we speak, I'm currently enrolled at University of Texas in Austin. I'm doing a postgraduate in machine learning and AI, which because when I started last year, I said, "What's the next big thing? Machine learning, AI. Oh, I don't want to be left behind." So I enrolled. They go to my office, paid for it, so I didn't have to pay. But
Yeah.
I made the move. I discovered I needed this and made the motivation to the company. So, okay, this is the benefits this will bring. So even if my company is going to benefit from it, I'm still going to acquire the skills and it will reside in me for as long as possible. So that's why every major breakthrough in my career came after I learned something new. Exactly. I was telling that came after I learned something new. So it's not about us fold your hands and wait for opportunities to drop. You need to like align yourself so that when it even drops, you're able to take it and work with it. And when it comes to pattern, another pattern for me is I ask a lot of questions. So starting from when I was in the process of deciding if to make this transition or not, I started asking questions. Met people like Andre Zemeze, which was my top boss, asked questions, a lot of questions. I met friends, asked plenty of questions and everything. So I have a pattern of asking questions to be able to get what I need and how to do because I've never believed that asking questions makes you weak. Yeah. In fact, I think asking good questions is one of the fastest way to grow. In the past, I've had several mentors, both at MTN, USAA, even at JP Morgan. So every of this mentor, I've tried to utilize the opportunities at every interaction I've had with them to ask questions that will help me grow in what I do. So it's not just how do I put it? It's not just waiting for opportunities to come. At times you seek it. So like at times I go to my bosses. Well, okay, I say this. I know this is a vision of Chase going to the long-term plan, going to 2031, 2032. What do you think my team should be doing to help us position ourselves? Ask those questions. They tell, oh, this is something that's important to Chase. This is what we think because they see it from another level. They are my bosses. They get into conversation with my CEO and others. So I can learn from whatever they have and see, okay, since I work with people that can put this into life, how do I connect that bridge? So you ask questions, even those below you, you ask them questions. What are you working on? How does this impact this and everything? So all this comes together. Then to crown it all, like I said at the beginning, finally, the biggest pattern is God's faithfulness. I'll tell you, every time I couldn't see the next step, God already had a path prepared. That's something I'll tell anyone.
Yeah.
Let me take it back to MTN again and give you an instance why I said this. For a long time, I was a business analyst and I really, in MTN, it was a big thing to become a manager and everything. So working in customer relations, all of the positions I applied for mostly were call center manager, service center manager, and others. I attended all these interviews, but didn't get any of those jobs. So, but that didn't break me. But as a human, you feel bad about it. You ask yourself, what am I
Absolutely.
not doing right? What's going on and everything? But I didn't allow them get to me in the way it does to some other people. I just take the positive lessons and everything. And eventually I got my position as what's the name of this thing? Customer intelligence manager. So why am I bringing this up? It's part of the part God prepared for me on this trip. Because if I were to have gotten a call center manager, service center manager, those experience wouldn't have counted in my current role. The only reason why I could look back and say, okay, I have how many years of experience from MTN was because I work within a performance customer intelligence side. Because within data analytics, insight gathering, what's happening in the market, what are customers feeling, all those were skill sets I needed to acquire to get me prepared for this. That's why I look back and said, those rejections are not rejections. Rejection got planted on the way for my path to where I am today. And I'll tell you something funny. When I was customer intelligence manager at MTN, one of the teams that reported to me was a workforce management team. So I had an oversight function on Oluchi's team then. So I knew some stuff about workforce issues come up at times, some civil service level issues, AHT issues, vendor issues, whatever. So because I have an oversight, they bring it to me. Even when I'm not fully rooted within the team, I still need to understand part of the learning process, at least have a basic understanding of what's happening within the environment and how can you help influence things. So all these experiences added to wherever I was headed to. Because when I did my interview at JP Morgan Chase, they needed someone that could actually tell stories, data stories. And this was what I've been preparing for the last 6 years from USAA, having Tableau access and everything. I could get the data, I could work on this, I could do this and everything. So those just came in place. And aside from that, they needed someone that had at least basic workforce experience.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Interesting.
yeah, part of what you'll be visualizing includes some aspect of workforce data. So because I've worked on that team at MTN, I was able to tell them some stuff about workforce. And it was like, oh, this guy is so well-grounded. He's well-rounded in all this stuff and everything. But I'm bringing this back again to show that every disappointment is God preparing a path for you.
I hear you.
If I hadn't worked as a customer intelligence manager, all my data analytics skills presenting to Andrew, Gowan, and others would not have been in my toolbox, and I wouldn't be able to speak on those. Combined with my workforce experience, yes, if I had gotten the position of customer manager, I might have an understanding of workforce, but not the workings of workforce. So that's why I'm just trying to like link all this back to bring it back to why I say my life is a testimony and I'm a person of faith. I know we've seen I've fallen short of the glory, but it all still works for us because nothing happens without the mark of God in our lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned 3 things. You talked about learning, continuous learning, the patterns you see. You also talked about the fact that you ask questions, good questions actually position you well such that you can get things that ordinarily you wouldn't get. And then 3, the God factor. And you sort of, talked about every single experience from MTN to your previous place to here right now. So absolutely, it's really mind blowing what you've shared, and I totally agree with the God factor. You mentioned the whole essence of opportunity, the chance meeting opportunity, opportunity meeting chance. Because you need to position yourself and not just be there hoping that manna will fall from heaven.
Sure.
Absolutely. So there are people back home and of course newcomers, people who are probably thinking about coming here. And they see, your VP position, they say, wow, this guy, he's made it. Am I ever going to be there? What do you want them to understand about this whole thing, this whole journey? What would you be telling them?
Well, I'll say I want people to understand that success usually looks fast only after it has already taken place, after years.
Yeah.
So before then, you wouldn't understand. So this move, this success story we're telling today didn't just start after I moved over to the US. It has been right from my first day at MTN, what I've done. So like I was discussing with my boss when we were in Chicago for a meeting. I traveled to Chicago for a meeting with my top bosses. So we had a one-on-one discussion. So we were talking about something. So I told her about how let me put it this way. I thought at times when you're hiring someone or you want to get, because we're talking about hiring and everything, I said hire someone that I've come to learn from my years of working and having subordinates and reporting to others, that skills, experience, very important, but attitude is more important. Skills I can teach, attitude I
Yeah.
can teach.
Hmm.
So why am I bringing this up? Right from my first day in the corporate environment, I didn't just learn skills, I learned working with the right attitude. So it didn't just happen overnight. All these are things that have been coming together over time. At the end of the day, when you see it paying off, you now like ask yourself, oh, how did I get here? Okay, yeah, I put in the work here. So this is how it happened. So like I said, my VP title didn't happen overnight. It's more than 2 decades of experience and work. It was built on countless hours of learning, making mistakes, solving problems, and continuously improving myself. Sometimes you see me going to LinkedIn looking for new jobs, or not because I want a new job. I just want to say, okay, for the kind of my role, what are the new stuff people are looking out for? Have they started looking for AI? Because one reason why I started machine learning AI, I noticed employers started putting into place, oh, agentic AI, generative AI, what those stuffs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this boss is leaving me behind. So how do I bring myself up to speed? So these are all the sacrifices that goes into it.
Yeah.
And by next month, I'll have completed my complete package of AI machine learning, including agentic, whatever, from UT Austin. So that again will be in my toolbox. I never know. Tomorrow they might just want to promote me at work. And so we're looking for someone that can do stuff on LLM, agentic AI, whatever. Oh, Edward has it. Let's move him up. So this didn't just happen by chance. This is stuff that sacrifices going in sleepless nights, hours of learning and everything, improving yourself. So it requires patience.
Yeah.
Because not every opportunity comes when you want it to. It doesn't come when you want it to come. If it requires humility, because I had to be willing to learn from people younger than me and people with different experiences. A lot of time I do that. I just go, oh, guys, what are you working on? How do I do this? I don't care if you're below me by age or whatever, but I need to learn. I need to know what you did there. Show me how you did it. So it requires resilience, because there were disappointments along the way. I'm not like to you. It wasn't always the, but you have to be resilient in whatever you're doing. And above everything else, there's always say it requires faith.
I hear you.
If I could actually summarize everything, I would say success is really about speed. It's about being consistent.
Hmm.
If you're consistently improving yourself every year, opportunity eventually begins to find you. What you finding there, they'll begin finding you.
I absolutely agree. Consistency. I absolutely
Uh-huh.
agree with that. Thank you. And I have my final question. I wish I could keep you forever. So so 10 years in from where you are, I mean 9 years in, sorry, from where you are standing now, what do you know for sure that you wish you could go back and tell the version of you that just landed? What do you know now?
Oh, well, I would tell him, Edward, relax. Everything is going to work out. Stop comparing your beginning with someone else's middle.
Hmm.
So this is my starting point. Somebody else has started this race like 2 years ago. They're in the middle. and I'm comparing myself to them, those stop comparing yourself with people that are the middle or the finish line. Start from where you are. Be you. Be you. Trust God's timing. Keep learning, because ability to learn will always become your greatest competitive advantage. I'm a testimony to that. I'll tell you that for free. And don't be afraid to, I'll tell myself, don't be afraid to ask for help, because nobody succeeds alone. You need people around you. You need positive thinking people. A friend of mine, Nee, he's based in Dallas, Texas. He's currently a vice president too in West Fargo Bank. When I moved into the US, he was one of those people I spoke to about settling in, getting things done. And because we both started at MTN, though he left MTN many, many years ago and moved over to the US, he was well settled here. So I asked him questions a lot, and he's always willing to come to talk to me. Whenever I call, he picks up, Eddie, what's happening? This. So I tried not to be isolated. I tried to surround myself with people with a positive mindset, people that can help me grow. So, like, even when I was at USAA, one day he called me up. Then he was vice president at Citigroup, that Citibank, before he just moved to West Virginia as senior vice president. So one day he called me and said, Edward, since you've moved out to the US, you worked at USA, which is a good bank and a big bank, you have tons of experience, because we speak a lot, we challenge ourselves, we talk about work and everything. So why not move into the top 5 banks? Chase is the biggest bank in the world, of course. Why not just try coming in, at least get yourself into the mainstream of everything? I told him I've never thought about it. He said, start looking at stuff. Then he just left City. He now told me there are some VP openings at City. So he started sharing some of these, and that was when even I started applying for bigger roles.
Wow.
So you see, because I noticed I could not succeed alone on my own. I needed people to surround me, people experience or whatever. And you see, people mistake, like I said before, asking questions does not make you weak or look weak. It just helps you fast track whatever you're doing. And for some people, I've seen it. I've seen a number of people who say, "Oh no, me and him, we're supposed to be like this. So since he's here, pride, I won't ask him because he will know I'm not there yet." A lot of that happens a lot. I've seen people. I won't want to open myself up to him, because if you don't, I talked about humility at the beginning. You have to humble yourself. Remain there. You're not there yet. Don't compare it. So like him, he's even past the middle points. I'm at the beginning. I'm not comparing myself with him. I know he's up there. All I want from now, I want to learn his journey and everything. How do I get up there and everything? What are you doing right? I need to learn. I need your template. Let me just fill in the template and work as well. So that is something we need to realize. It's not the competition. It's not Edward, when we were in Nigeria, was his boss, so I can't ask him any questions. No, let me just hustle my own. Let me struggle on my own. It's like get up there, then I'll open myself up to me. I call it Edward. Hey, I've arrived to. Every time I never get there. So it's just for us to try to apply humility. We cannot do it on our own. We need people around us to ask questions, to get help from. It might not be personal questions. So that's why I said build relationships, because your network opens doors that qualifications alone cannot open.
Absolutely.
Yeah, your network opens those doors that qualification alone cannot open. So I think most importantly, don't define yourself by your current situation. I don't have that job yet. I'm still here. It does not define me or who I am. Sometimes you're just preparing you're just preparing yourself for the next season. It's just a preparation. It's not just this is where you're supposed to learn and everything. And looking back now, I realize that every day, every disappointment and every challenge, like I said before, was preparing me for responsibilities I have today. They all have a role they played. So nothing in isolation, no mistake, all by design.
I hear you. Absolutely. I mean, you talked about comparison. It's one of the biggest errors, it's one of our biggest challenges we have, comparing ourselves with.
I don't know what the competition is all about.
Yeah. Honestly, comparing ourselves, you arrive, you're not even settled in. You're thinking, oh, I don't want to talk to this person. I don't want them to see that I'm struggling, stuff like that. You
Yeah,
talked about
obviously, maybe
humility. Yeah,
because somebody else you know from back home lives in a single home, single family home, has a
yeah.
5 bedroom, has a 3 car garage and everything. And you
Mhm.
just came in, you're staying in a 1 bedroom apartment.
Yeah,
Oh, he can't visit me now. I can't visit him. No, so let's cut all those crap.
yeah.
Let's open up and learn.
Yeah, yeah. And one vital thing that I'm taking away with me is don't be afraid to ask for help. And from your interview from the beginning to the end, you kept talking about people, surrounding yourself with people. You talked about mentors. I
That's
mean,
a
you
great question.
you
Yeah.
obviously really had it right from the beginning, having the right people around you. That's so
Yeah,
good.
if I could leave everyone with one thought, it would be this: don't let fear make your decisions.
Hmm,
Don't let fears make your decisions.
hmm,
Prepare yourself. Learn continuously. Ask questions. Stay humble.
hmm.
Be patient. Work hard, and most importantly, put God first.
Thank you
See,
so much.
simple
Wow.
truths. You see titles, they come and go.
Hmm.
Money comes and goes, but your character, your faith, and your willingness to keep learning will continue opening doors for the rest of your life. See, that's been my journey.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly grateful for every step of it. So everything around me revolves around all what I've just told you.
Thank you. This is so profound.
Wow.
There's a whole lot to glean from my conversation with you. I've learned so much. I mean, I'm so encouraged because I'm still a baby in this journey, and hearing from you, your experience and what you're doing, it does encourage me. I'm sure it's going to encourage a lot of people who are going to listen to this because there's a lot of truth to glean from this. And I really appreciate that you coming to this forum and sharing your journey and sharing every single thing that you experienced and where you are right now. I appreciate you and thank you so much, Edward.
Thank you again, Nova, for having me. I really
Yeah.
appreciate this opportunity to tell my story and encourage someone out there.
Thank you. Thank you.